Hey guys, welcome to the article test. My name is Elisa, and I am so happy to have you here with me tonight. Typically, I don't record that late into the day, but I just saw that Simon from the Hermit's Cave brought back a tarot deck that 3 years ago I enjoyed quite a lot, but I didn't participate in. So when I saw that he was bringing it back, I decided to pause everything that I was doing and actually record a response for you guys. So thank you, Simon, for this wonderful hashtag. The hashtag, in fact, um, you have already seen what I'm talking from the title of this video, but the hashtag is TarotTubers A to Z evolution. And basically, we have 26 prompts, each one for each letter of the English alphabet. I have all of the questions here written down in my journal already, but I didn't write any responses. I just jotted down the questions, and we are going to do this uh, live here on camera. I am not prepared by any stretch of the imagination, and we are winging it. So let's see. Awakening. This is the first prompt. By the way, I think I will list all of the prompts in the description box down below for you guys to check them out if you want to make and record a response of your own. So, without further ado, let's start. So, we have awakening. What sparked your spiritual tarot awakening? So, I started my journey when I was a young teenager. What sparked it actually was I found a Wicca book in my local library. It was back at 2009. At that time, as a child, I was obsessed with everything supernatural, anything magical. I was reading a lot of Greek mythology, Bulgarian folklore, etc. And I'm from Bulgaria, obviously. And yeah, but it was one of those days that I wasn't feeling like going to school. I had quite a lot of this type. I had a lot of days when I was a teenager that I didn't want to go to school because I was bored out of my mind when I was in school, and I actually spent the whole day at a local library in the city center. Not my school library, but a public library. And there, by some sort of accident, I don't know, I stumbled upon a Wicca book. It was Wicca for Teenagers by Silver Raven Wolf. It is a very cheesy Wicca book from the 90s. But this book showed me that there are other spiritual paths. In comparison to the mainstream Christianity that's prevalent in my country. So, this is what sparked my pursuit of different spiritual tradition and path. I started with Wicca and with this particular book. My interest in tarot was born as I was reading this Wicca one-on-one book for teenagers, there was a little section about tarot cards and how you was supposed to use tarot cards prior to casting spells to divine the outcome, if it's a good idea to do certain rituals, etc. This is where I first actually learned about tarot and the existence of tarot. Prior to that, I didn't know what tarot cards were at all. So I saved up my weekly allowance and I went to a bookstore near the same library, actually, in search for tarot decks. In 2009, it was almost impossible to find literature that was different for different spiritual paths, traditions. So I was very optimistic, but at the same time, I was a bit skeptical that I will find a tarot deck anywhere. But I was lucky, and the bookstore had a few oracle cards, mainly Dorian Virtue angel cards, and they had one tarot deck, which was the standard Rider Waite Smith. It was a pocket version translated in Bulgarian. So I bought the deck, I bought the keys to practical key to tarot. What was the name of the book? It is the book by Edward. Wait, that if you know anything about tarot, you know it's not very helpful. So this is what sparked my awakening to my spiritual path and my tarot practice. And since I bought this tarot deck and I got my first Wicca book, I haven't looked back, honestly. Okay, so B for beliefs. By the way, this is going to be on the longer side, so get yourself some snacks, something to drink, because I have 26 questions, prompts to go through, and I feel that I am already rambling quite a lot. So, yeah. So, B for beliefs. What core beliefs guide your practice today? Okay, that's a big one. So, what core beliefs guide my practice today? My practice right now is based mainly on the spiritual and energetic model of magic, a combination between those two, plus a bit of the psychological model and entangled, those three models combined. My practice, spiritual and tarot practice, are dedicated to Hecate. Hecate is a very well-known deity in the spiritual community. I feel like I don't think she needs further introduction than that. But basically, this is the core, and my practice revolves around her and my devotional relationship to her. But the question was actually, what core beliefs guide your practice today? Core belief. My core belief that there is a higher intelligence that us humans. I really don't like how the majority of the human population thinks that we are on the top of the, not only the food chain, but that we are the best species, that we know everything. Because we don't. I truly believe, and this is a core belief of mine, that as humans, we perceive only a very small percentage of reality as a whole. Maybe 1 to 2% is what we perceive, and the rest is the unknown, the mystical, the unseen. And I truly believe, I hold this core belief that there are forces beyond our control. But at the same time, I I truly believe that we all, the seen and the unseen, what we can perceive as well as what we can't, is all of those things, we and all other things in existence and outside of our perceivable reality, we all come and are a part of something bigger. And for me, this something bigger is Hecate. You can say that it's the universe, it's God, whatever language you want to use. This is my core belief that we are all one, but this one is fractured and doesn't remember that it's one. It doesn't remember its oneness in a way. And I know a lot of people in the spiritual community that fall into that philosophy of oneness, tend to do it as a way to bypass the shitty human experience and reality that we live in. I don't do that. I embrace both the duality, but also this divine oneness that I uh, feel is true. I feel that this is the truth in my bones, the spiritual truths, and this spiritual truth. And this is the core belief that my whole practice is built upon. That we are all equal, we are all divine, we are all parts of one and the same entity, but we, for whatever reason, we have, let's say, amnesia, and we don't remember our true nature. And also another core belief of mine is that there is no separation between the material and the spiritual. It is only a perceived human illusion, because I don't believe animals or other living beings, such as plants, differentiate between the physical and the spiritual. I think we as humans tend to misuse our sense of self, or and we as a species are very egotistical. Yeah. So basically, my core belief that guides my practice today is that belief of equality, and that we are all one and the same. But for whatever reason, we appear as different and as separate from one another. And this appearance of separation creates all conflicts in the world. It creates the hate, it creates the evil. Yeah, I truly believe that evil and um, act and hurting others comes from that illusion of being separate from one another. And I strive towards embodying that belief that we are all one, and treating each living being as a part of myself, in a sense. This is going to be a long video, guys. Or maybe I should separate it into 2 parts. We will see. Okay, so C for cards. Which deck do you feel most connected to right now? Okay, this is easy, but I need to place the microphone somewhere so that I can show you some cards. So, which deck do you feel most connected to right now? Crow Tarot. For some months now, I've been abusing this deck. This is a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. Let's do it like this. Not clone, but Rider-Waite-Smith inspired tarot deck. Last year I had a profound experience with Hecate during one of my meditations with her, and she called me her little raven. And since that experience, my connection to crows and ravens and their symbolism as messengers and liminal creatures that can fly between the worlds. This symbolic representation and my personal experience with Hecate, I don't know, this deck started speaking to me with such clarity that I was honestly surprised. I didn't expect it from this deck. And currently this is one of my top 5 decks. I have 5 favorite tarot decks of all times, and this is on the list because of that, and I will also do a separate video speaking about that. But yeah, this is the deck that I feel most connected to right now. So yeah, the Crow Tarot is the deck that I'm most connected to as of right now, March 2026. Next prompt is D for daily practice. Do you have a spiritual or tarot routine? Spiritually, I have a very well established devotional practice to Hecate, and basically every morning, it depends whether or not I am awake when I wake up. It's either I make a cup of coffee for myself and then I lit a candle on her altar and I refresh her water offering. I give her a candle and a glass of water every single day. And excuse me. And I strive to do so each morning after I first wake up. I say good morning to her because her altar is directly in front of my bed. This is the bed. I sit here. This is my working space, my desk area, and her altar is just there. On a dresser, it's elevated. I think you've seen it from previous altar tours. But yeah, this is what I do every single day. Then throughout the day, at some point, this doesn't have a consistent time slot. I pull a card as my daily card. Typically, I do it at night, around this time in the evening. It's a reflection card from Hecate to reflect upon something about my day or about the next day. It depends. It's a very interesting practice, and I have a video that is going to come in May, I think, where I dive deeper into my daily tarot practice. But basically, every day I pull cards from Hecate, 1 or 2 cards depending on the mood. And as of recently, I started posting daily messages on my on the Liminal Oracle TikTok account. So those are my daily tarot practices. On a weekly basis, I do a bigger tarot reading for myself, asking Hecate for guidance once again, and throughout the week, I do other types of readings with other guides and deities that are present in my life. And yeah, that's basically it. So, next one. E for evolution. How has your practice evolved over time? That's an interesting one. How has your practice evolved over time? Hmm. So when I started my tarot practice, I didn't have access to the internet first and foremost, and it was something very personal. I was reading for my daily struggles as a teenager. I was reflecting through the cards around some family issues that I was going through, some mental health stuff. I was a very aware child, if you will. Uh, and that was for years. I read for family and friends, mainly friends. And when 2020 rolled around with all of the pandemic BS things that happened in the world, I had a lot of free time and I actually discovered TarotTube. After my discovery of TarotTube, I began to doubt my abilities as a reader because I had only one deck, and all of the readers that I was seeing online had those large collections. So I began to experience some imposter syndrome, which, from my current perspective, is a bit weird because I've been reading cards for a long time prior to discovering YouTube, TarotTube, all that stuff. But anyway, so I was going through a lot of imposter syndrome. I started buying all those tarot books, watching tarot one-on-one videos, even though I knew how to read cards at that point. But I I had this thought in my head that you don't know anything because you only have one deck. And it's funny to me now because I'm on the other side of that particular struggle. Looking back, it's very funny to me because there's no real reason for me to have thought those thoughts. So, yeah. Then I started to struggle with my collecting habits. I was purchasing a lot of decks in the hope to compensate for those feelings. Plus, I was going through some feelings of isolation because of the COVID. And at the same time, I moved to Austria, which was a totally different country. I didn't have friends or family there. And all of those emotional experiences were feeding somewhat of a shopping, let's say, habit that was not very healthy for me. Yeah, when I came back to Bulgaria, the first 2 years were a bit rough. And now I think that I am okay. As I discovered TarotTube in 2020, my tarot practice shifted in another way. I began to read way more psychologically. I began to distance myself from my previous practice in terms of using the cards for divination, in terms of actual divining. Because once again, I was influenced by the people that I was watching and their approach and their personal practices. And now, where I am now in terms of my tarot practice. Now I feel that my practice is evolved to the point where I don't need to put a category on it. I use the cards for whatever, whenever I need them. I can read them as reflection, as I can use them as a tool for self-exploration and deep inner work, but I also use them as divination in terms of seeing what the energy of a particular situation may be so that I can prepare myself. I use the cards to connect to my goddess and other spiritual intelligences and entities. I use the cards for communication with those entities. I use them for communing with hidden parts of myself in the framework of that more psychological approach, if you will. So I've done it all with cards. Um, I've I've read only for myself. I've read for family and friends. I have a professional practice. I read for people. I've done the whole psychic hotlines deal. I've done it all, basically. And right now I feel very comfortable with where I am. Okay. F, favorite. All-time favorite deck and why? Standard, flatback, US Games, Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. This is my plastic version. We've all seen this deck. It's a classic, and this is precisely why it is my favorite deck of all time. I learned on those images when I do client readings. This is the deck that I reach for 9 times out of 10. It is a classic for a reason, and there are amazing new decks. Don't get me wrong, I love all of the decks that I own. But this deck, this reads everything. This is my favorite deck. This is, if I could only have one deck, 100% would be this. Okay, next prompt is G, guides. Do you work with spirit guides, ancestors, or higher self? Me personally, I work with deities and spiritual beings and energy currents. I work with Hecate primarily, but I also have other deities that I am in regular communication with and that I give offerings to. I don't work with my ancestors, my higher self, not so much because, not so much. And spirit guides, I have a specific reading offering for clients which taps into their spirit guides. But for me personally, I only connect for myself with certain faces of the divine in terms of deities. And some animal, plant spirits, allies from time to time. Okay, H, healing. How has tarot or spirituality supported your healing? Oh, how has tarot or spirituality supported your healing? It gives me a very useful structure to work with and it gives me a very supportive framework. It gives me something to calm my mind because I tend to be a bit of an overthinker at times. And whenever I lay cards, excuse me, in front of me, I tend to focus my mind. I tend to see my emotions mirrored back at me, and this gives me a very clear perspective of the emotional and mental state that I am in. It gives me very useful structure to navigate those experiences and work through them. And this actually was very beneficial and healing for me in terms of shadow work. 2020, 21, 22, and early 23, I did a lot of focused internal work, diving into my childhood, my teenage years, different experiences and challenges that I went through as a younger person. And the tarot provided a safe container and a system for me to explore those issues through. And spirituality gave me the tools through which basically not to reframe my experience, and it gave me hope in a sense. It was very supportive mechanic for me to understand my life, and still is to this day. Healing. I don't really like this word per se, healing, because I don't think I was ever broken. I don't think any of us is broken, no matter if you're depressed. None of those things matter. You are not broken. Those are just human experiences that you are going through. Healing for me, you are just learning what it means to be human, and you are just moving through certain experiences. I don't feel that the word healing is the correct one. Maybe more so understanding, reframing, and I sneezed there, and feeling better. But healing has this connotation that something is wrong with you, and I truly don't believe in something being wrong with you. Only in some severe cases of cruelty and very toxic and evil behavior, I would say that somebody is broken, or that there's something wrong with that person. But yeah, so let's move forward. Intuition. How do you connect with and trust your intuition? That's an interesting question. How do I connect to my intuition? I used to have this huge problem around that. Because I was such an overthinker, especially when I was younger. There were some instances, especially in my dating history, where in my gut I knew that the person wasn't good for me, but I disregarded it and I went along anyway. And those experiences helped me see that your body knows, and your body has this internal wisdom and system that is trustworthy, and that your mind is not the only intelligent part of your being, if you will. How to trust your intuition? Your intuition feels calm and true. That's it. You feel calm when you have an intuitive knowing about something. If I'm overthinking and anxiety and over chattering, this is not your intuition. This is how to discern if there's any fear or anxiety around in a particular subject that you think is right, correct, or is your intuition guiding you. That's not your intuition. Your intuition speaks very quietly. It's very quiet. It's very calm. And it comes from your gut or from your heart space. And it's almost, yeah, it's calm and it's relaxing. Your body is not tense. And you just know what to do and what's the right thing. At that moment, there's no doubt. If there's doubt, that's not your intuition. That's your mind trying to convince you not to listen to your intuition. In how to connect to your intuition, you need to meditate. There's no way around that. You need to learn how to calm your mind, and you need to learn how to trust yourself, and you need to differentiate between the different mental voices that each and every one of us has. And also you need to learn how different emotions feel inside of your body, so that when your intuition speaks, you can clearly sense the difference between your intuition and another emotional state. I don't know if that makes sense, but this is how I am experiencing it. Okay, J for journey. Describe your tarot spiritual journey so far. That's... I already touched upon my tarot journey in terms of my tarot history when I spoke about how my practice evolved over time. I feel like that those two things kind of overlap. My spiritual journey, on the other hand, I've studied so many different things, but maybe I will just tell you about the main influences on my spirituality as of they are right now. So, like I mentioned, I started with Wicca. Then I studied Satanism, primarily the Satanic Bible by LaVey. No, is it by LaVey? I'm recovering from a cold, don't judge me. But I studied a bit of Satanism. I went through the whole Helena Blavatsky spiel. With Theosophy, I really read a lot about that branch of the occult sphere. I don't know. I studied core shamanism at some point. Aleister Crowley, Golden Dawn, of course. I've studied a bit of Kabbalah when it comes to the tarot, and mainly because I was learning about the Thoth Tarot, which is by Aleister Crowley and Lady Frida Harris. Then another significant influence on my practice is animism, the concept of animism. Mysticism is a big part of my practice right now. Animism, mysticism, Hinduism was a big influence. I had maybe 3 years that I devoted strictly to researching Hinduism, different branches. I worked very closely with Lord Ganesha from the Hindu pantheon. I had a brief but very deep relationship with Kalima. During that period of time, I read some things about Buddhism, but from the Eastern schools and religions, Hinduism is still to this day a big influence on my practice. The concept of non-duality, Advaita Vedanta, Tantra, a bit of Tantra, and not the westernized version. By the way, I am also self-taught. I trust my connection to the spirits and my own research. And when I researched different traditions, for example, Hinduism, I only read books and listened to actual Hindu practitioners, Indian practitioners, not so much the westernized version of Hinduism and yoga. And yeah, I was going straight to the sources, reading a lot of sacred text from Hinduism. And then after Hinduism, panentheism is a big idea that I incorporated. Not pantheism, but panentheism. There's a difference. You can look it up. Okay. K for knowledge. How do you learn, deepen your understanding of tarot? I learned tarot mainly by observing patterns and reading the cards for myself on the daily and seeing how they played out in my life as a teenager. I didn't have a lot of literature back then. I was relying on Edward Waite's book, Pictorial Key to the Tarot, or something like this. I don't remember the name of the book. This is how I learned. In 2020, when I discovered TarotTube, etc., I started reading a lot of focused books. So then I gathered a lot of my book knowledge and understanding of the cards. On top of that, I really like to take cards and actually see how they fit into my my spiritual understandings and different philosophies. So basically, this is how I derive meaning from the tarot. I use all of my knowledge base, not only about the occult and the spiritual, but I use also my lived experience, all of my knowledge, etc. And I mix it with the traditional tarot associations that most readers learn through books, etc. Now, this is how I learned, and this is how I apply my knowledge when I read cards. My advice on how you can deepen your knowledge, if you haven't done this already, is to go through the deck one card at a time and really see where this card or this archetype applies to your own personal lived experience. And by observing the card, let it take you back to a moment of your own life where those exact emotions were evoked within you. Because as humans, the tarot as a system is the book of life. It contains every experience that the human can possibly have: emotional, mental, physical, you name it. It is all in there. So if you take each card and go through them one by one and do this exercise of letting the card take you to a moment of your own life where this experience was lived by you, you will gain a much deeper understanding of the cards and of their practical application that you will do by reading a book, no matter of which book you are reading. So the tarot is the book of life. You have lived life. So combine those two things and learn from that, from that merging. Okay. L for lessons. A powerful lesson tarot has taught you. Let's see. A powerful lesson that the tarot has taught me. Nothing is set in stone. This is the powerful lesson, and I learned this very early on in my tarot journey. Because, like I said, I didn't have the internet. I was by myself, exploring this by myself. So, at the very beginning, I was a very young teenager, and I thought that whatever the cards showed me, this was what I thought that this was the outcome 100%. But as I grew, as I was using the cards, as I was observing the language of tarot, as I was building my relationship to the cards and how they spoke to me, I learned that the tarot shows us a trajectory or a forecast, like the weather forecast. And you have your own free will and you can change that outcome. The tarot serves as a warning or as a, like a forecast, but it is not set in stone and it is not 100% guaranteed outcome. So this is the biggest lesson that the cards taught me. And that there's more to life than my shitty childhood. So let's put it that way. So, M, myth or misconception, a common myth about tarot you would like to debunk. A common myth, let's think. A common myth is that somebody has to give you your first deck of cards, otherwise you cannot learn how to read. That's complete BS. I bought my first deck and I'm very proficient at tarot, if I may say. So, yeah, this is a misconception that a lot of people have. Another misconception, this is more of a Christian nonsense, is that the tarot is somehow evil from the devil. First, there are devils, but humans are far worse than any devil. Just a personal opinion there. But yeah, tarot is not from the devil. Tarot is not evil. Tarot is just a system, a language, if you will. You can learn it, you can use it, and you can do whatever the F you want to do with it. There are no set rules. Another misconception that I think I've seen online is that this is more of a new age thing, not new age, but newer thing, let's put it that way, that it's not useful, tarot is not a useful tool for prediction, and that fortune tellers are scammers. I don't agree with this. I think that this is a bit of an ego trip of the human mind, that you think that there is nothing else than your physical environment that you can perceive with your own eyes, and that the tarot is only good for reflection and self-help, if you will. It is great for that, don't get me wrong, but it is also a great tool for divination and changing the trajectory of your path of your life. So I don't know if I explained that point in the best way. I'm not quite sure, but yeah. Okay, and now What is your current focus in your practice or life? My current focus in my spiritual life is my devotional relationship to Hecate and the oracular work that I do for her on my other channel, the Liminal Oracle. So check that out if you want to see readings from me channeling Hecate. The other focus in my life right now, something that's very important, is my art. Those are the two things. My spirituality, my art, and my relationships. And my dog. But my dog, it falls into relationships. So, O for Oracle. Do you use Oracle cards? How do they fit into your practice? Oracle cards. I do use Oracle cards, and I typically use them in two ways. Either as a starting point for a reading to determine the theme or the main energy that the whole reading is going to revolve around. I like three ways. There are three ways that I use oracle cards. The second way is I pull an oracle card after a reading to sum it up and to conclude the whole message. The third way is one card pulls as daily message from Hecate for the collective. Yes, I love oracle cards and I use them almost daily. But if you ask me what do I love more, I have to say tarot. Okay, guys, I think that we are through more than half of the prompts and we are almost an hour in. I don't know if I want to separate the video into two parts. No, we are powering through and doing this in one take. So the next one, P for purpose. What role does tarot play in your life's purpose? Tarot is a tool for spiritual communication, like I said. Life purpose. We as humans have the tendency to need meaning, to have meaning in our lives. The meaning of my life and the purpose of my life is my spiritual practice, spiritual evolution, and becoming a better human. Not in the sense of becoming the most rich or the most successful human, but becoming a better human, a human that I like, that I would like to be my friend, if you will. This is my purpose. My purpose as a person is to have healthy relationships, to be a decent human being, and yeah, that's the meaning of life. What more can you want from life? But what role does tarot play in this? It helps me navigate my life. It helps me gain clarity about my mistakes and how I can do better. It helps me gain knowledge and support from my deity, Hecate. Yeah, so this is the purpose that tarot has for me. And also in my professional life, tarot is something that I utilize daily. I read for people all the time. I love reading for people. I feel that tarot readings in generally, if done right, the right way, can be something that's very useful for your growth, for your explorations, for receiving guidance and a different perspective. This is why I read tarot for others, because I know not everybody is interested in spending the time and the effort in learning the system. Although I could say that tarot can benefit every person's life if they sat down and learned how to do it for themselves. So yeah, let's move to the next one. Q for question. What is your favorite question to ask the cards? Favorite question to ask the cards. Show me something that I'm not seeing clearly, that I need to see with clarity. What energy or theme is present for me at this point in time? Show me a way, show me a good way to work through that energy or theme. What can I improve about a particular situation is another question. What favorite question? What other questions do I ask? What do I need to be aware of right now? What is going to be... No. Show me something that is going to be beneficial for me or for the person that I'm reading for at this point in time. So those are some of my favorite questions to ask. The next one, R for ritual. Do you have any rituals before or after reading the cards? Before I read the cards, I usually have a candle going somewhere on one of my altars, depending what energy I am trying to connect to. I always, before reading the cards, ground myself, center myself, and I invite the energy or the deity to step forward and be present with me. I try to avoid reading when I'm angry or anxious, but this is not a ritual, it is more of a practice that I have. After reading the cards, I gather them, I shuffle them, and I say thank you. And that's it. As for other spiritual tools that I use a lot of candles in my spiritual practice as offerings. I use incense as offerings and to put me in a more receptive state. Certain aromas and scents can do that to you. I have a tarot cloth because just for practical reasons, because my desk is quite slippery and it's quite difficult to take the cards off of it. They tend to slide all over my desk, so it's more practical to use a cloth. And that's it. Spiritual tools when it comes to my tarot practice in specifically, I don't think that I have other or many more. I use an oil burner if I cannot burn incense sticks. I have a lot of tarot bags, but they are not special per se. I use a lot of jewelry as devotional pieces. And I use a lot of crystals and stones that hold certain energies to help me with my intuition, with my perception when I read the cards, and with my connection to certain energies and deities. But that's about it. Okay, I'm getting a bit tired. T for transformation. How has tarot transformed you? It didn't make me more self-aware. I was pretty self-aware prior to discovering it. It gave me a new modality to explore my inner world and my external reality. So I don't know if it transformed me in any significant way, except it provided me with a very useful system language to communicate with spirits and entities. It became a bridge between me and the unseen, and it became a very trusted bridge. I don't believe that the cards speak to me. I believe that the cards are the tool through which different energies and deity spirits communicate with me, if that makes sense. Because this is man-made. It's an item. And yes, of course, in animism, certain items, objects that look inanimate are actually animate and have spirit inside. That's a different case. Okay, so transformation. The next one is unpopular opinion you have about tarot. Unpopular opinion that I have about tarot. I don't personify my decks. I use different tools for different entities out of respect, and because I think that the different art captures the different artwork on different tarot decks tend to capture specific energy signatures from specific entities that I am in communication with. That's why I use different tarot decks in my practice. Unpopular opinion. I hate AI and AI decks. I don't know if it is an unpopular opinion, but I can spot an AI deck from a mile away, and I know that there are certain YouTubers with tarot tubers with a large following that promote AI decks. I don't know if it's conscious or not, but yeah. Unpopular opinion, I don't trust people or readers that use AI tools as a whole in their spiritual practice. AI it's soulless, and I don't believe it connects you to anything divine. It's a language model, and in a sense you can say that the tarot is a language system, but it's not the same. It feels empty to me personally. This is personal opinion. You may totally disagree, you may love AI, it's your choice. This is my opinion. Another unpopular opinion. Okay, I have one. Indie decks are better than mass market decks. I hate that opinion because it's not true. I create decks that can be categorized as independently produced because I place them on make playing cards. But as a person of limited financial means, the majority of my collection is composed of mass market decks, and let me tell you, they read wonderfully. And in terms of indie decks, I don't experience the urge to purchase a lot of indie decks because I perceive them as more so as artistic explorations of the archetypes rather than a functional tarot deck. I don't know why, but this is how I perceive the majority of the indie decks that I see online. They are beautiful, they are amazing creations, but they don't feel like tarot to me. So this is my unpopular opinion that indie decks are better than mass market decks, and I'm saying no, that's not true. V for values. What values are important to you as a reader? Honesty. Honesty is really important to me, but it's also very important how you deliver the messages and the information that you gather when you read cards for others. There is a fine line between being brutally honest and hurting somebody's feelings, and being honest but doing it in a way that will help the other person actually. So honesty is something that is very important for me. Transparency and explaining to the person that's sitting across from you what they can expect, and actually explaining to them how you read cards, what is your modality, etc. So transparency and good communication skills is very important if you are going to read for other people. Values. What values are important to you as a reader? That's basically it. The other thing, I don't read on health issues in terms of am I sick from insert certain thing. I do general health readings, but they are truly general in terms of pay attention to your health, or maybe you need to look into a different diet, and basically when I do a one-on-one reading with somebody that's face to face in my real life, the reading is much more of a back and forth and a conversation with the cards between us than when I'm reading online for online clients. Because doing online readings, all readings are pre-recorded video readings. So yeah, but basically those are the things that I stick to: honesty, transparency, and no sugarcoating, and good communication skills in a way that the client will benefit from. So yeah. One last thing. In terms of my personal spiritual beliefs, I am always open and honest about them, but I never project them onto the reading or onto my client. If they have different belief system or what have you, I always try to be as respectful as I can to the beliefs of the other person, even if I don't agree with them or even if I don't align with them. Now, there were times in which I declined reading for other people for particular reasons, because we were so different that I just felt that I wasn't the right reader for them. And yeah, that also happens. Okay. Wisdom is the next one. A piece of wisdom you've gained through tarot. A piece of wisdom that I gained through tarot. Expect the unexpected. And sometimes the tarot or a deity, entity that you connect to through the modality of the cards, they will give you a very specific cards for a very specific message. And sometimes they are very literal. But as a reader, you may not interpret it 100% correctly. And it's fine. I had a personal experience like this when my father passed away. At that point, I was really experimenting with how far can I push tarot in terms of divination and prediction for myself personally. And I remember I did a full moon reading for myself, asking what can I expect in this cycle, because I was doing full moon and new moon readings, so the cycle for the moon cycle. And the cards that showed up were so literal. I remember it to this day. I got the Tower, I got the Death card, and I got the Ten of Swords, I believe. And a few days later, I received a phone call of my father passing away. And the reading, when I actually was interpreting the reading, I took it as something psychological, something internal. And in fact, it was referring to a very real situation outside of myself. And this is the wisdom that I gained from that experience, that no matter how you interpret the cards, you cannot know for sure at that exact point in time. You need time to pass in order to verify whether or not you were correct or not in your interpretations. So, yeah, expect the unexpected, because sometimes you get certain warnings and it's clear as day, but you don't see it. You only see it when the event has passed and you lived through it. So, yeah, I don't know whether or not that answered the question, but I feel it was a very significant lesson in my tarot journey personally. So, X factor, what makes your tarot practice uniquely yours? My lived experience. Just like your lived experience makes your tarot practice uniquely yours. I don't think I have anything else to say to that. How do you bring your authentic self into your practice? How do you not do that? Like, how do you bring your authentic self into your practice? My whole spiritual practice and desire is not the word. My whole spiritual practice is geared towards me living as my most authentic self. If you sit down and lie to yourself or to the cards, why even bother reading cards or doing anything spiritual? So, how do you bring your authentic self to your practice? I don't need to bring it. It's already there. I just need to get in touch with it through layers of societal conditioning. So, I believe that it's the same for everybody. And also radical self-acceptance and self-love. Okay, guys, last one. And last one. I cannot believe we made it. Zenith, I don't know what that word means, but the question is, what would what would your highest expression or goal in tarot or spirituality look like? The highest expression or goal for my tarot or spiritual practice, how this will look like. For me, this is mysticism. Embodying the energy of Hecate and living every day of my life in alignment of that energy. Yeah, merging myself with that current. For you, it may be different. But for me, this is the highest expression of my spirituality and my tarot practice. Being in alignment and one with my goddess, my deity. So, yeah, guys, I can't believe that we went through all 26 questions. I truly hope that this was amusing for you, interesting for you, and that you got to know me better on a more deeper and personal level. Okay, I'm truly tired now, so I think I will wrap it up here. Thank you so much for each and every one of you for your support here on The Art Occultist. I appreciate every single viewer, commenter, subscriber. Thank you. Also, thanks so much to the wonderful Simon from the Hermit's Cave for creating this hashtag, and yeah, it was truly wonderful to participate, so thank you so much. Now, after I post this video, I will go and actually watch the original video of Simon's. So yeah, thank you so much. Once again, I'm Elisa and you're watching The Art Occultist. Before we part ways, I want to ask you to like the video if you enjoyed the content and to subscribe to the channel so that our community can grow. And yeah, if you want a personal reading, all of the links are in the description of the channel, so you can find everything there. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.